The worst kind of humiliation is when your own blood lies straight to your face in front of a judge. My daughter, LaShawn, acting all high and mighty, told that court I stole her kids. She forgot that I keep receipts, and those receipts are right here in this old manila envelope. Welcome, everyone. Thanks for tuning in. I'd love to hear where you're listening from. Share your city below. Let's begin this journey together. The gavel strikes the wood in that Fulton County courtroom, and the sound echoes right down into my bones. It feels final, like a judgment. Here I am, Ophelia, 68 years old. My hands are wrinkled, and they are clutching an old, beat-up manila envelope. An envelope I have held onto for 14 years. My heart is pounding so hard I'm afraid the whole room can hear it. Thump, thump, thump. Like a drum telling everyone I'm scared. But I'm not just scared. I'm angry. Across from me sits my daughter. My only child, LaShawn. She's in one of her expensive-looking suits, cream-colored, not a wrinkle on it. Next to her, her lawyer, Derek Hayes, is pointing right at me. Pointing. Like I'm some common criminal they dragged in off the street. His suit is sharp, too. He looks like he costs a lot of money. LaShawn's eyes... Child, when I tell you... Her eyes are burning with a rage I just don't understand. Or maybe I understand it all too well. It's the rage of somebody who's been caught. She stands up and speaks to Judge Roberts. Her voice is trembling, but it's firm. Your Honor, for 14 years my mother has had my children without my consent. My breath catches. Without her consent? Then she says the word. This constitutes parental kidnapping. Kidnapping. That word just hangs in the air. It's a sharp, ugly thing. It flies right across the room and lodges deep in my chest. Kidnapping. After every single thing I've done. After every night I stayed up. Every meal I cooked. Every prayer I prayed. I look past her. In the third row, there they are. My babies, my grandchildren. Austin, he's 20 now. A man tall and serious. Simone, my 18-year-old, looking like a queen even when she's terrified, and my baby, Keisha, just 16. Their faces are pale. They look confused, like they're watching a movie they don't understand, and they just want it to be over. Judge Roberts looks at me over the top of his glasses. He's a tired-looking man, but his eyes are kind, and they are sharp. He's seen it all. Mrs. Ophelia, he says, his voice quiet but carrying. What do you have to say to these accusations? I can't find my voice at first. My fingers just squeeze that envelope. This thin paper thing. It holds all the proof. It holds the truth I've been sitting on for 14 long years. Protecting it. Protecting them. Your Honor, I finally say. My voice is shaky, but I make it strong. I didn't kidnap anybody. I look right at LaShawn. I simply raised the children my daughter, abandoned on my doorstep, left them like they were yesterday's trash. That's a lie, LaShawn screeches, jumping to her feet so fast her chair nearly falls over. I never abandoned them. I was sick. I had postpartum depression. I just needed temporary help. Her lawyer, Mr. Hayes, puts a calming hand on her arm. He stands up, smooth. Your Honor, he says. My client was hospitalized for severe postpartum depression. She was in a vulnerable state. Mrs. Ophelia took advantage of that vulnerability to alienate these children from their biological mother. The room fills up with whispers. I can hear them. People shuffling in their seats, leaning over to each other. Oh, that poor woman. Her own mother. They're already deciding who the victim is, but they don't know the first thing about the truth. They weren't there. I was there. I lived that truth every single day for 14 years. I was there for the fevers that spiked in the middle of the night. I was there for the homework I didn't understand but sat with them through anyway. I was there for the nightmares. I was there for the hugs when they cried, asking me, Nana, when is Mommy coming home? Asking for a mother who never called, who never came. Judge Roberts taps his gavel, just once, gently. Please continue, Mrs. Ophelia. Tell this court what happened. I close my eyes, just for a second. and I let myself go back to that day that changed everything. It was November, I say, my voice softer now. 14 years ago, raining. One of those cold, ugly Atlanta rains that gets into your bones. I remember I was in my kitchen, just sitting at the table, drinking some mint tea for the ache in my knees. And then I heard a knock, more like a bang. Someone banging on my front door like the house was on fire. I opened that door, I say, looking at the judge. And there she was, LaShawn. She burst in like a hurricane, just chaos. I look over at my grandchildren. Austin is looking right at me. He nods, just barely. He remembers. She had the 3 children with her, I continue. Austin was 6, Simone was 4, and Keisha was just 2. They were dirty, Your Honor. Their clothes were wrinkled and they were hungry. I could see it in their eyes. I look right at LaShawn. Her face is hard, but she won't meet my gaze. Austin, my grandson, he had holes in the soles of his sneakers. It was cold and raining, and his feet were wet. Simone had dried food on her face. Her hair was all matted. And Keisha was wearing a diaper that hadn't been changed in a long time. The courtroom is silent now. No more whispers. LaShawn threw this black plastic trash bag on my floor. It had a few pieces of their clothes in it, all dirty. She said, "Ma, I need you to keep them for a while." That's what she said. "Just a few weeks. I got to get my problems sorted out." I pause. The memory is so clear. I asked her, "What problems, LaShawn? You need money. What's wrong?" But she just kept shaking her head, backing away toward the door. "I'll be back," she said. "Just a few weeks." I feel a tear roll down my cheek. I wipe it away. Angry, not sad. She gave each of them a quick kiss on the head. Quick, like she was in a hurry. And then she left. She just left. The children ran to the window, I say, my voice thick. I can still see them, pressing their little hands flat against the glass, screaming, "Mommy, Mommy, don't go!" I have to stop. I take a sip of water. The courtroom is so quiet I can hear the air conditioner hum. But she was already in a taxi. She never even looked back. She just got in that car, and it drove off. That night, Lord, that night was the longest of my life. Austin kept asking, every 10 minutes, "Nana, is Mommy coming back tomorrow?" What could I tell him? I just said, "We'll see, baby, we'll see." Keisha cried for hours. She wanted her teddy bear, a little brown bear with one eye. LaShawn didn't even pack it. And Simone, my sweet Simone, she was just 4 years old. She didn't cry, she didn't say a word. She just found my dust rag and started wiping the kitchen table, over and over. Like her little heart already knew she had to start taking care of things. Weeks went by, then a month. I had no phone number for her. She had moved out of her last apartment. I called and called the old number, disconnected. The children were breaking. Austin started wetting the bed again. He hadn't done that since he was 3. And Simone, she just stopped talking. For almost a whole month, that child did not say one single word. I finally went over to her old apartment building. The landlord, a woman named Mrs. Betty, told me LaShawn had skipped out, owed 3 months' rent, just left in the middle of the night. Mrs. Betty looked at me with pity. She said, "She left a box of junk behind. You want it?" It was a cardboard box. Inside, under some old magazines and clothes, I found them. The children's birth certificates, their social security cards. She had left them, like they meant nothing. I knew then. This wasn't a few weeks. I took those papers and I went down to the school. I enrolled Austin in 1st grade. I enrolled Simone in pre-K. I remember the teacher. She smiled at Simone and asked, "And where is your mommy today?" Simone just pointed. She pointed right at me. She said, "That's my mom. That's my Nana Ophelia." I had to turn away so they wouldn't see me cry. The real crisis came when Keisha was 4. She has asthma. Bad. One night, she couldn't breathe, wheezing, her little chest going up and down. I rushed her to the emergency room at Grady Hospital. They got her stable, thank God. But then the questions started. We need parental authorization for this treatment. Where's her insurance? We need the mother's signature. I didn't have any of it. I was just the grandmother. In the eyes of the law, I was nobody. That night, sitting in that cold hospital hallway, I knew I had to do something. I took the last of my savings, $1,000, money I had saved for a rainy day. Well, it was pouring. I hired a lawyer. He told me we had to get legal guardianship. He told me we had to try and notify the mother. We put ads in the Atlanta Journal-Constitution, just like the law said, to LaShawn, regarding the custody of Austin, Simone, and Keisha. For weeks, nothing. No answer. She had vanished. So 10 years ago, I tell Judge Roberts, this very court granted me full legal guardianship of my 3 grandchildren. LaShawn shouts, because you lied. You told them I abandoned them. I told them the truth, I shout back. You did abandon them. For 14 years, LaShawn. 14 years. Not one phone call, not one birthday card, not one single dollar for clothes or food, not one Merry Christmas. I'm breathing hard. My heart is racing. The judge quiets the room again. Your Honor, I say, trying to calm my voice. I raised them. I did my best. My disability pension, it was barely enough for me. Suddenly, I had 3 more mouths to feed, 3 bodies to clothe, 3 minds to educate. I think about those years. They were so hard. I sold my mother's gold, I tell the court, her wedding ring, her necklaces, everything she left me. I sold it to buy them school uniforms and sneakers that fit. I didn't stop there. My knees ached, but I couldn't sit still. I got a job as a home health care aide on weekends, bathing folks, helping the elderly, and on Saturdays I did hair in my kitchen, charging $10 for a press and curl, just to make ends meet, just to keep the lights on and food on the table. I glance at my neighbor, Miss Loretta, sitting in the back row. She's nodding. She was there. She saw it. My neighbor, Miss Loretta, she's a good woman. She watched the little ones for me while I worked, for free, because she knew. She saw. I see LaShawn's lawyer, Mr. Hayes, lean over and whisper something to her. I see them both glance back at Miss Loretta. Then they look at Judge Roberts. I say, Miss Loretta is a good friend. She's also Judge Roberts's cousin, I believe. You could have heard a pin drop. Oh yes, child. The world is small in Atlanta. They didn't expect that. They thought I was just some old broke woman they could roll over. They didn't know my community. Those children grew up, I say, and I feel the pride swell in my chest. Despite it all, they grew up good. Austin graduated high school with honors. He's at Georgia Tech right now, studying to be an engineer. I look at Austin. He's trying so hard not to cry. My Simone, she started talking again. And oh, can she talk now? She wins spoken word poetry contests all over the city. She's got a voice that can shake the walls. Simone gives me a small, watery smile. And Keisha, my baby, she learned to play the keyboard, plays in our church choir every Sunday, makes the whole congregation want to shout. I look back at the judge. I took them to every doctor's appointment, every parent-teacher conference. I sat in the front row of every school play and every choir performance. I celebrated every single birthday with a cake, even if I had to use a box mix. I was there. I lean forward. I never lied to them about their mother. I told them she loved them, but that she had problems she couldn't handle. I kept her pictures up. I told them to pray for her. I pause. This is the part. This is the trigger. And then, 2 months ago, after 14 years of absolute total silence, she shows up on my doorstep with him. I point at Derek Hayes, with a lawyer and a lawsuit demanding her children back. I'm letting that hang in the air, letting everyone in that room, everyone who whispered about me, understand the timeline. 14 years of nothing, then suddenly a lawsuit. Judge Roberts leans forward. His eyes are fixed on me. 2 months ago, Mrs. Ophelia. What changed? After 14 years of silence, what suddenly changed? This is it. I feel my hand tighten on the manila envelope. I feel the papers inside, the papers that tell the whole, ugly truth. I give the judge a sad little smile. The answer to that, Your Honor, is right here, in this envelope. I stand up. My knees pop and I feel every one of my 68 years. But I stand up straight. I walk past LaShawn. I don't look at her. I walk right up to the judge's bench. Your Honor, I say, I have some things I need this court to see. Mr. Hayes jumps up. Objection! We don't know what's in there. It's inadmissible. Judge Roberts holds up a hand. I'll be the judge of that, Counselor. Mrs. Ophelia, please hand the documents to the clerk. I open the envelope. My fingers are trembling just a little. Not from fear, from relief. The truth is heavy. I've been carrying it alone for too long. Let's start with these, I say. I pull out a small stack of photographs. Old, faded photographs from a disposable camera I bought at the drugstore. The clerk passes them to Judge Roberts. He looks at them, one by one. His face gets tighter, more serious. Describe these images, Mrs. Ophelia, he says. That first photo, I say, my voice clear. That's my grandson, Austin, the day he arrived. Look at his shoes, Your Honor. Holes in the bottom. His pants, torn. He was 6 years old. The second one, that's Simone. She had dried, I think it was ketchup, on her face. Her hair was matted. You can see she'd been crying. And the last one, that's Keisha, my baby. She was 2. She was wearing a diaper that, well, Your Honor, you can see for yourself it hadn't been changed in hours, maybe longer. I look at LaShawn. She's covering her face with her hands. Her lawyer is whispering at her, but she's shaking her head. Bless her heart. She can't stand to see what she did. I took those pictures, I tell the judge, because my neighbor, the one who worked as a medical assistant, she told me to. She said, Ophelia, you document everything, just in case. I never wanted to use them. I never wanted to shame my daughter, but she brought this fight to my door. The judge passes the photos to Mr. Hayes. He barely glances at them before passing them to LaShawn. She flinches. She won't look. Now, I say, reaching back into my envelope, these. I pull out a small stack of letters, folded, worn out. These are letters LaShawn wrote to me, in her own hand, during the first 6 months, before she disappeared completely. The judge takes them. He sees the handwriting. Mr. Hayes is on his feet again, but the judge waves him down. Mr. Hayes takes the letters and he starts to read. I watch his face. I watch that smooth, confident expression just melt. Your Honor, I say, I can tell you what those letters say. I look right at LaShawn. Her face is white. That first letter, dated 3 weeks after she dropped them off. She wrote to me that she had met a new man named Ramon. She wrote that she was moving with him to Miami. The courtroom is dead silent. She asked me, I say, my voice breaking just a little. She asked me to keep the kids a little longer, because her new man, he didn't want past troubles. He didn't want other people's kids. LaShawn is crying now, sobbing. Good. Let her cry. And the second letter, I push on. She told me she was pregnant with Ramon's child. She said she couldn't come back because he threatened to leave her if she brought, and I quote, that baggage into their new life. Pregnant? Judge Roberts asks. Yes, Your Honor. She had another child, a son who is 13 years old right now, a son she got to raise, a son she kept, because it was convenient for her new man. I look back at my grandchildren, their faces, shock, confusion, pain. I never told them. Lord, I never wanted to hurt them with this. I never told them they had a brother. There's one more letter, I say, my voice flat, hard. In the third letter, she asked me to sign some papers, to give her up. so she could start her new life with no legal complications. I look at LaShawn. She offered me $600. $600, Your Honor, for the expense of raising her 3 children. $600 for 3 human souls. Mr. Hayes looks sick. This was not the story his client told him. I can see it on his face. He's been played just like everyone else. Did you sign them? The judge asks. No, sir, I say. I wrote her back. I told her I didn't want her blood money. I told her if she was going to leave, she needed to leave for good. Stop playing games with these children's hearts. I told her not to contact us again until she was ready to be a real mother. I pull the last letter from that stack. This was her answer. The last words I got from her in 14 years. The judge takes it. He reads it. His expression turns to stone. He hands it to the clerk. Read this. Aloud, the clerk, a young woman, clears her throat. She reads, Ma, fine, I won't bother you no more. You take good care of the kids, 'cause I got my own family now. If anyone asks, just tell them their mom had to go far away for work. It's better that way. It's signed, LaShawn. I look at my grandchildren. Tears are streaming down their faces. Austin looks like he's going to be sick. For 14 years, Your Honor, I say. I respected that. I never looked for her. I raised her children with love, with everything I had, and I prayed. I prayed every night that one day she would grow up and come back, for the right reasons. Judge Roberts looks at me. And why do you believe she has returned now, Mrs. Ophelia? For the wrong reasons? This is it. I reach into the envelope, the last document. She came back, Your Honor, I say, my voice ringing out in the quiet, because 3 months ago my brother Otis passed away in Houston, Texas. The judge leans forward. And what does that have to do with this case? My brother Otis, he was LaShawn's uncle. He was a successful businessman. He had no children of his own. I pull the paper out. It's a copy of his will. My brother left a significant inheritance, $75,000, to each of my grandchildren, to be held in trust until they turn 21. LaShawn lets out a sound, a wail. That's $225,000, Your Honor, I say, and that inheritance can only be managed by their legal guardian, which is me, or which would be her, if she won this case. The room explodes. People are gasping, shouting. Judge Roberts is banging his gavel. Order! Order in this court! When it's quiet again, I say, it's not about love, Your Honor. It's not about postpartum depression. It's about money. It has always, only, been about the money. But that's not all, Your Honor, I say. My voice is getting stronger now. The truth, it does that. It straightens your back. The judge looks surprised. There's more? Yes, sir. I'm just an old woman, but I am not a fool. When my daughter, who hadn't spoken to me in 14 years, showed up on my porch with a high-priced lawyer, I knew something was wrong. Child, when I tell you, I knew in my spirit this wasn't about love. So I took the last of my emergency money, the money I keep in a coffee can, and I hired a private investigator. Mr. Hayes jumps up. Objection! This is character assassination. It's the truth, I say, looking right at the judge. And I have the report right here. It shows that my daughter, LaShawn, and her new man, Ramon, they are drowning in debt. Over $40,000 in credit card bills. They are being evicted from their fancy apartment in Miami. They are desperate. They didn't come back for Austin, Simone, and Keisha. They came back for Otis's $225,000. The room is just vibrating. You can feel the shock. LaShawn is shaking her head. Lies. All lies. Judge Roberts looks at the report. Then he looks at the children. He sighs. I think it's time we hear from the children themselves. Austin, will you please approach the bench? My heart just aches. I never wanted this for them. I never wanted them to have to choose. Austin stands up. He's 20, a man. He walks tall. He looks serious. He puts his hand on the Bible. Austin, the judge says, his voice gentle. "This must be very hard. I want you to tell me, what do you remember from before you lived with your grandmother?" Austin looks at the floor for a long second. Then he looks up. "I remember fragments, sir. I remember being hungry, a lot. I remember Nana, Mrs. Ophelia. She would show up. She'd always have bags from the Kroger. She'd bring milk and cereal." He swallows. "I remember that night. The night she left us there. I remember Nana. She gave us all a bath. And she made chicken soup. I remember the steam. It was the first hot meal I'd had in, I don't know, a long time. I just remember feeling safe for the first time." The judge nods. "And what about your biological mother?" Austin looks at LaShawn. His face is just sad. No anger. Just a deep, old sadness. "For a long time, I was angry. All my friends, they had parents. At their basketball games, at graduation, I had my Nana. She'd come straight from her job as a home health aide, still in her scrubs, smelling like disinfectant. She'd be exhausted, but she never missed a game. She never missed a parent-teacher meeting. She worked 2 jobs, sacrificed her health, her peace, her everything, for us. She didn't have to do that, but she did." He looks right at LaShawn. I'm glad you're okay. I am. But I can't stand here. I can't pretend those 14 years just didn't happen. I can't." Judge Roberts looks at him. "Where do you want to live, Austin?" Austin doesn't hesitate. "Your Honor, I'm 20 years old. I'm legally an adult. I'm at Georgia Tech now. But my answer matters. It matters for my sisters. So my answer is, I'm staying with my Nana. She's not just my grandmother. She is my mother, in every single way that counts. She's my home." He steps down. "My boy, my man." "Simone," the judge calls. My Simone, she's 18. She walks up to the stand with the grace of a queen, but I can see her hands are shaking. "Simone," the judge says, "what do you remember?" Simone takes a deep breath. She looks right at LaShawn. "I remember more than Austin," she says, her voice clear. "I remember Mom." And she makes little quote marks with her fingers. "I remember Mom crying. All the time. Lying in bed all day. The curtains were always closed. I remember. Me and Austin, we were little, trying to find cereal for Keisha. We had to take care of ourselves. We were always hungry." LaShawn shouts, "I was sick. You don't understand. I was sick. I had depression." Judge Roberts bangs his gavel. "Ma'am, you will be silent or I will have you removed from my courtroom. Continue, Simone." Simone nods. I'm sorry she was sick, but I also remember Nana's house. I remember someone finally asking, "Are you hungry, baby?" I remember someone reading us a story at night, not just locking us in a room. She looks at me. "When I was 14, I found out I have a severe peanut allergy. I ate something at school. My throat closed up. It was terrifying. Nana, she learned everything. She learned how to use the EpiPen. She read every single label on every piece of food that came into her house. She kept me safe. She is safe." She turns back to the judge. "LaShawn, she's a stranger to me. She shares my blood, but my Nana, she shares my life. My family is right here, with her." She steps down. "Keisha is next, my baby. She's only 16. She looks so small walking up there." "Keisha," the judge says, very softly, "what do you remember?" Keisha looks at LaShawn, just stares at her. "I don't remember her," she says. Her voice is small, but it's sharp. "I don't remember her face. I just remember feelings. I remember being hungry, and I remember the smell of the old apartment. It smelled like old cigarettes and sadness. The courtroom is I can't even breathe. And then I remember Nana's house, Keisha says. It smelled like bleach and peach cobbler on Sundays. She sang to me when I had nightmares. She sang, "His eye is on the sparrow," every night until I wasn't scared anymore. "I'm not curious," she says, looking right at LaShawn. I don't want to know you. I'm safe where I am. I'm with my Nana, that's all." Keisha comes back and buries her face in my side. I just hold her. I look up at the judge. He's wiping his eyes. He's not even hiding it. He looks at me. "Mrs. Ophelia, after that, is there anything else? Anything at all this court needs to know?" "This is it. The last piece. The one I never wanted to use." "Yes, Your Honor," I say. I stand up again. There's one last thing." I look at my grandchildren. "Babies. There's something I never told you. I kept it hidden. I didn't want you to grow up with this weight. I wanted you to have the choice to forgive her someday, if she ever earned it. But she has forced my hand today. What's done in the dark, it must come to the light." I reach back into that manila envelope. My hand is shaking. This is the one, the final nail. This is the last thing I found in that same cardboard box, the one LaShawn abandoned at the apartment, the one Mrs. Betty gave me. I look at LaShawn. She knows. Her face, all the color just drains out of it. She looks like a ghost. "No," she whispers. "Ma, don't. Please don't." "This," I say, my voice like thunder, "is a voluntary renunciation of parental rights, written in her own hand, signed, and dated 3 days after she dropped them on my porch." The courtroom, it just stops. Even the air stops moving. Mr. Hayes, the lawyer, he looks like I slapped him. That's impossible. That's a fabrication." "Is it?" I say. I hand the yellowed, folded paper to the clerk. "Read it." The judge takes the paper. He reads it. His face, I've never seen a man look so angry. "Mr. Hayes," he says, his voice deadly calm, "approach and read this, aloud, to your client." Mr. Hayes takes the paper. His hands are shaking now. He starts to read. His voice is choked. I, LaShawn Ophelia, being of sound mind, do hereby voluntarily relinquish all my maternal rights to Austin Ophelia, Simone Ophelia, and Keisha Ophelia." He has to stop. He's gagging on the words. "Continue, counselor," the judge orders. I acknowledge that I do not have the emotional, financial, or psychological capacity to raise them. LaShawn she's not even crying. She's just broken. I fully authorize my mother, Ophelia, to make any and all legal, medical, and educational decisions. This decision it's definitive and irrevocable. He drops the paper on the table. Signed, LaShawn Ophelia. LaShawn just explodes. "No, I was sick. I didn't know what I was doing. I had depression. It doesn't count. It doesn't count." "Your Honor," I say. My voice is cold. I don't even recognize it. "Mrs. Betty, the landlord, she is on my witness list. She is waiting outside this courtroom, and she will testify that LaShawn was perfectly lucid, that she came to her apartment, asked for a pen, and some important paper because she was," and I quote, "starting over." She knew exactly what she was doing, but that's not even the ugliest part, Your Honor. The judge looks at me. "God help us, Mrs. Ophelia. What else?" "The darkest part. It happened just last week." I look at my grandchildren. "Babies, I'm sorry. I didn't tell you about this call. It was too ugly." I turn back to the judge. "My daughter called me. For the first time in 14 years. I heard her voice on the telephone. At first, she was sweet. 'Ma, I've matured. I've changed. I want my babies back. I miss them.' I asked her. I said, "Why now, LaShawn? After all this time? Why not last year or the year before?" And then I said the magic words. I said, "LaShawn, is this about Uncle Otis's money?" I let that hang in the air. Child, when I tell you, the change, it was like a light switch, the sweetness, gone. Her voice got hard, cold. She told me, "That money belongs to my children, and I am their biological mother. I have more rights than you." I told her, I said, "The money is safe, LaShawn. It's in a trust. I am their legal guardian. You can't touch it." And that's when she said it. I take a deep breath. That's when she threatened me. She said, "You give me custody, and you give me control of that trust fund, or I will accuse you of kidnapping. I will tell the whole world you stole my children. I'll put you in jail, old woman. You'll die in jail." The room is just, I have no words for the feeling. It's evil. Mr. Hayes he's backing away from his own client. "She thought I was bluffing," I say. "She thought I was just some stupid old woman. She forgot. I keep receipts. I got these printed from my phone." I pull out the last papers, the printouts of the text messages. "Here, Ma, just agree to 50-50. 50% for you, 50 for me, for your trouble." And this one, "You force me to go to trial, I get everything. And you will go to jail for kidnapping. Don't test me." Judge Roberts, he's not a judge anymore. He's just an angry man. He's standing up. This is extortion. This is a felony. Mr. Hayes, your client, I am obligated to refer this entire case to the district attorney's office. This is criminal. LaShawn, she's just wailing, that high-pitched, terrified sound. No, please, I just wanted my kids. I just wanted my kids." "You didn't want your kids," I yell. "You wanted their money." The judge looks at me. His face is grim. "Mrs. Ophelia, in light of this attempted extortion, do you wish to press criminal charges against your daughter?" The whole room, everyone, is looking at me. My daughter, my blood, my only child. Her face is a mask of snot and tears and terror. She's just a child herself in that moment. A broken, greedy, lost child. I look at Austin, at Simone, at Keisha. They are looking at me, waiting. I take a deep breath. "No, Your Honor." A sigh goes through the room. "No," I say again. "The Lord don't like ugly, and that would be ugly. She's my daughter. I don't want to see my own child in jail. I can't, but what, Mrs. Ophelia? But I want her away from us. I request a permanent restraining order, a 5-year order. She is not to come near me. She is not to come near my grandchildren. Not unless they, when they are adults, decide to seek her out. But she is not to contact us. She is not to call. She is not to write. She is to leave us in peace." Austin stands up. "Your Honor, may I?" The judge nods. "Yes, son. I want the court to know," Austin says, his voice strong. We don't consider her our mother. Our mother is Ophelia. She earned that title. She's the one who stayed. She's the one who loved us." Simone and Keisha, they stand up too, right next to their brother. Simone says, "He's right, Your Honor. She's a stranger. She came for the money. That's all." Judge Roberts bangs his gavel. It echoes, loud, final. This court finds that the legal guardianship of Ophelia is confirmed and made permanent. The suit for custody is dismissed with prejudice. The restraining order is granted. 5 years. This court is adjourned. It's over. People are crying. Miss Loretta is shouting, "Hallelujah!" We're just hugging. Me and the children, all 4 of us. crying. And then I feel a tap on my shoulder. It's LaShawn. Her lawyer has already packed his briefcase and gone. She's alone. "Ma," she whispers. Her face, it's a mess. "Ma, please, Ramon. He told me, he said if I didn't get the money, that $225,000, he said he'd leave me. He's gonna leave me. Ma, what am I gonna do?" I look at her. My heart. It doesn't feel like anything. It's just empty, numb. "LaShawn," I say. My voice is so tired. 14 years ago, you chose a man over your children, and here you are, today, doing the exact same thing. I turn away from her. "You haven't learned a single thing, daughter. You haven't learned a thing." I take my grandchildren's hands, and we walk out of that courtroom. The sound of that gavel. It took a long time to fade. For weeks, I'd still hear it in my sleep. But the quiet that came after. Child, that quiet was something else. 3 months passed. The house felt lighter. Keisha was back to practicing her keyboard for the Sunday service. The music sounded joyful again, not strained and angry. Austin was deep in his midterms at Georgia Tech, calling me only when he needed to remember what real food tasted like. And Simone, she was working extra shifts at the coffee shop, saving every dime, her walls covered in brochures for colleges in New York City. Life was normal. We weren't looking over our shoulders. The fear was gone. Then, one Tuesday, Miss Loretta came by. She never just visits. She comes bearing news. She sat right there at my kitchen table, fanning herself with a church program even though it was already October. "Ophelia," she said, her voice low. "Honey, you fixin' to want to sit down for this." "I'm already sitting, Loretta. What is it?" My stomach did that old, familiar flip, even with the restraining order. What now? Is she appealing? Did she find another lawyer? "Oh, no, child," Loretta said, shaking her head. "She ain't got the money to appeal. No, it's him. That man. Ramon." I just waited. "He left her," Loretta said, flat. "Left her flat. Took their son, Paul, packed his bags, took the car they had, and went right back to Miami. Told her, now this is just what I heard from Pastor's wife, who heard it from a cousin. He told her she was a loser." "A loser?" "Mm-hmm. Said she had $225,000 sitting right there in her hand and was too stupid and too sentimental to get it. Said he wasn't going to be tied down to a broke failure." I closed my eyes. The Lord. He don't like ugly, but that was ugly. Where is she now?" I asked. My voice was just a whisper. Loretta sighed. "That's the other part, baby. She's not good, Ophelia. She lost that fancy apartment. She's working night shift, janitorial crew, cleaning offices downtown. The image, it hit me. My daughter, my LaShawn, in her cream-colored suit, now pushing a mop. She's living in one of those little run-down apartments over by the highway," Loretta finished. "The kind they rent by the week. Folks say, she looks bad, real bad." Miss Loretta looked at me hard. "Now, don't you go feeling sorry for her, Ophelia. Don't you dare. You reap what you sow in this life. You reap what you sow." "I know, Loretta," I said. "I know." But I kept stirring my tea. Long after it was cold. She's right. You do reap what you sow. But she's still my daughter. I tried to shake it. I tried to focus on Keisha's homework that night. I tried to watch my programs. But that image, it just wouldn't leave my head. My child, alone, in a dark room, cleaning toilets. You reap what you sow. I know. But I also know who I am. The next day, it was the 1st of the month. My disability check had just come. I went right down to the Kroger. I took that money, and I filled a whole cart, Not with junk, with food, rice, beans, a whole chicken, bread, milk, eggs, and soap, toilet paper, toothpaste, things a person needs to feel human. I drove over to that apartment building. It was worse than I thought. It smelled like mildew and despair. I walked up 3 flights of stairs. The carpet was sticky. I found the door. 3B. I knocked. Silence. I knocked again. Louder. "LaShawn, it's me. It's your ma." I heard shuffling, like someone dragging themselves across the floor. The chain rattled. The door opened. Just a crack. Child, when I tell you, I almost fell down. The woman who stood there. That was not my daughter. That was not the sharp, angry woman from the courtroom. This was a ghost. She was so thin. Her bones looked sharp under her skin. Her eyes, they were sunk into her head, black and blue underneath. Her hair, it was matted, just like Simone's was, all those years ago. "Ma?" she whispered. Her voice was like sandpaper. She looked like she hadn't seen the sun in weeks. What are you doing here?" I brought you some groceries," I said. My voice was thick. She just stared at me. Then she opened the door all the way. The apartment, it was empty. A mattress on the floor, a single folding chair, a small TV on a box. That was it. I walked past her. I didn't say anything else. I just walked into the tiny kitchen and started putting the bags on the counter. I put the milk in the fridge. It was empty. The silence was so heavy. I could hear her breathing. It was shaky. Then she just crumpled, right there on the dirty kitchen floor. She slid down the wall and just broke. She put her head on her knees and sobbed. Not the angry sobs from the courtroom. These were empty, hollowed out. "I lost everything," she wailed. He took Paul. He took the car. I lost my house. I lost my job. I lost everything. I stopped unpacking. I stood there, my back to her. My heart, it was just aching. It was aching with a pity so deep it hurt, but it was hard too, like a stone. "No, LaShawn," I said. My voice was quiet, but it cut right through her crying. She sniffled, looked up. Her face was a mess of tears and dirt. "What?" "You didn't lose your first children," I said. "You abandoned them. There's a difference." She just stared at me. "And if you ever want to change your life," I said, turning to look at her, "you have to start with the truth. You have to stop lying to yourself. You can't be the victim in a story you wrote." But I'm so alone," she cried. He left me with nothing." "You chose this, LaShawn," I said. This is the consequence. That man, he was just the tool. You made the choices. Guilt, what you're feeling, it's just self-pity in disguise. It's useless. What you need is repentance. And you didn't come to my house repenting. You came to my house demanding. You came to threaten. You came for money." She just stared at me. The tears stopped. She was just empty. "I'm not here to save you, LaShawn," I said. "I can't. I'm too old, and I'm too tired. I'm just here because I can't let my own daughter starve. That's all." I put the last can of beans on the counter. "There's enough food here for a week. After that, you're on your own. You're a grown woman. Go get help, real help. Go to a meeting. Go talk to a therapist. Go do the work. Stop blaming everybody else for the choices you made." I walked to the door. My hand was on the knob. "Ma, wait," she whispered. Her voice was so small. I stopped. I didn't turn around. Will you come back?" I looked at the peeling paint on the door. I thought about Austin and Simone and Keisha. I thought about the peace in my house. "I don't know," I said. That's up to you. You change. You really change. You do the work. We'll see. But right now? No. My grandchildren? They come first. They finally have peace. I'm not bringing your chaos back into their lives. I opened the door, and I left her there, with the food and the truth. Time. Time does what it does. It moves forward. Another year went by. The restraining order. It's just a piece of paper in a drawer somewhere. We didn't need it. She didn't call. She didn't write. She didn't come. And life. Lord, life just bloomed. My Austin, he's not at Georgia Tech anymore. He graduated with honors, got a big job, programming computers at a big company right here in Atlanta. He tried to give me his first paycheck. I told him to put it in the bank. He just comes over every Sunday for dinner. My Simone, she's not a barista anymore. She got that scholarship. She's in New York City, living in a dorm, studying poetry. Of course she is. She calls me every single night, just to say goodnight. And my Keisha, my baby, she's 17 now. She's the band leader at her high school. That girl, she's got a fire in her. She's fixin' to run the whole world. That inheritance, that $225,000, it's still sitting right where Otis left it, untouched. Austin is 21 now. He can touch his $75,000. He hasn't. He came to me. He said, "Nana, that's blood money. I don't want it right now. We'll decide as a family what good we can do with it. Maybe start a scholarship for kids like us." My heart just, it's too full. Last week, Miss Loretta came by. She wasn't fanning herself. She was just smiling. "Ophelia," she said, "got some news." "Good news, I hope, Loretta." I think so," she said. "It's LaShawn." My stomach didn't flip this time. I just waited. She's in therapy," Loretta said. "Been going every week for 6 months, paying for it herself, with her own money." I just nodded. "And she's not on the night crew anymore. She got a day job, a real job, answering phones. She's a clinic coordinator over at a doctor's office in Midtown. She's paying her own bills. She looks stable." That's good," I said. "She hasn't asked about the kids," Loretta said softly, "at all. She told the pastor that she's just working on herself. Said she had to earn the right to even be on the same planet as them." "Good," I said again. That night, I was sitting on the porch. Keisha came and sat next to me. It was a warm night. We were just listening to the cicadas. "Nana?" she said. Baby. Miss Loretta. She told me about her." I looked at her. "She did?" "Yeah, that she's getting help, that she's different." I just waited. "Nana," she said, her voice small. Would you be mad at me if someday, a long time from now, if I wanted to meet her, just to see her?" I looked at my baby, my Keisha, almost a woman. I took her hand. "It's not so little anymore." "Oh, Keisha," I said. "No, baby. I would never, ever be mad at you. That is your decision, not mine, not Austin's, not Simone's. It's yours. If you decide, someday, to meet her, I will be proud of you. And if you decide never to meet her, I will be proud of you." I squeezed her hand. You get to make your own choices. That's what I raised you to be. A strong woman who makes her own choices. Whatever you choose, I'll be right here." She leaned her head on my shoulder. "I'm not ready," she whispered. "I know, baby," I said, "and you don't have to be." We just sat there, and I finally felt it. After all these years, after all the struggle, the yelling, the courtroom, the fear, peace, it settled over me like a warm blanket from the dryer. I protected my family. They are safe, they are good, and they are loved. You reap what you sow. God's sittin' high and he's lookin' low. My daughter, she sowed chaos and greed, and she reaped loneliness and a long, hard road. I pray she finds her way. I truly do. But me, I sowed sacrifice. I sowed love even when it hurt. I sowed staying when it would have been easier to run. And I reaped everything.